everyone. Welcome to the Larkspur City Council. It's October the 3rd at 6:30. We're going to start our meeting. So may we go ahead and please, Jamie, have the roll call.
Councilmember Haroff?
Here.
Councilmember Way?
Here.
Councilmember Chu?
Here.
Vice Mayor Morrison?
Here. All right, with that, may we please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. It's so nice to see a lot of people here. Yes. May we please go ahead and make a public comment for those items not on the agenda tonight. Hello, Joe Jennings.
Hello, my name is Joe Jennings. I live in Larkspur, and I'm along with Catherine Pike, also of Larkspur. We're co-chairs of the Larkspur Library and Community Center Task Force. We have 8 members from the Parks and Rec and Library community on our task force, and we have an additional 40 Larkspur residents supporting us so far. I'd like to just point out we have people here tonight. Would you all stand up who are in favor of the library and community center? And show your signs. Show your signs. Otherwise, it's Christmas is coming. This will be a sign. Anyway, all down. So we're here today to ask the City Council to facilitate the implementation of the July 2013 Larkspur Rose Garden Community Facilities Parcel Master Plan Report. We ask the City Council to authorize our task force to raise private and public funds and coordinate with the city to build a new library community center that is scaled or phased to the available resources. The signed letter you are receiving outlines the details of our requested authorization. It has received the unanimous support of the Parks and Rec Commission, the Library Board of Trustees, the Library Foundation, and the Friends of the Library. We request to have our authorization letter placed on the October 17th City Council agenda and to receive expedited action by the Larkspur City Council enabling our authorization. The case for the new facility is compelling. We frankly outgrown the old library and City Hall. We lack the community facilities to address all of our Parks and Rec program opportunities. The lack of parking and limited access make it difficult for many of our neighbors to take full advantage of the facilities and programs we have. And we already own the land. And it's been prepared for a library community center to be built. And every year we delay is another year of unmet needs of our children, our families, and our seniors. We can and should do better. And we ask for your support and expedited action. Thank you.
Joe, before you sit down, we usually don't make a comment after someone.
That's why I was running over.
No. I just want to say, I really appreciate your time and effort you put into this task force. It's been amazing to watch you, and you know exactly how to go about it, including all the boards and the commissioners and the council members and part of the community. Really appreciate all the effort that you've taken to create this. So thank you.
Thank you I am getting an endowed seat at Ruli's with my name on it. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Clap away. Is there anyone else to make a comment? I see none. Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. I love the signs, by the way.
You're welcome to stay. Don't go. It's a short meeting.
If you are going to go, I'll wait till everyone.
Madam Vice Mayor, would you like to instruct the staff to put this on the agenda on the 17th of October?
Please do.
Okay.
Okay, you're okay? Do you want to make a comment?
Yes, I will. Just briefly.
You need to state your name and address.
Barbara Friday, 66 Meadowood. I represent the Friends of the Library. I just wanted to mention, and I'm one of the signees, I guess, or signatories on the letter. You know, I have stood and watch Joe and this group sort of take form over the last 3 to 4 to 5 months, and I have so much confidence in the people that are committing so much of their time and effort to this task that would, and they're so completely unselfish. So I just wanted to lend my voice of support and say I believe they're doing good work for the community.
Great, I agree.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, Barbara. Anyone else? All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to, we have presentations, proclamations, we have none. Approval of the consent calendar. Any of the council members want to pull anything from the consent calendar? I see none. Anybody from the public wants to pull anything from the consent calendar? All right, I'll bring it back to the council. May I have
I'd be happy to move approval of the consent calendar.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one opposes. All right, so now we have the city manager's oral report.
I just have one item for you this evening. I wanted to give a pitch on behalf of Supervisor Rice and the county that on Thursday, October 11th, from 6 to 7:30 at Marin Art and Garden Center, they're going to hold a community meeting about the art and culture master planning process that the county's going through. And they encourage everybody to attend who wants to weigh in on that process. So just want to get that out there for the community.
Great. Thank you. And now we'll move on to the council members or oral reports and comments. Anybody?
I have.
Okay, please do.
Okay. This has been all the week of lots of meetings of mine that are about disaster, so that's what I'm going to share a little bit about. On Monday at the Public Disaster Education Preparedness Committee that I co-chair, we had a great presentation by a group of community members in the San Geronimo Valley who have a disaster group called the Valley ERG or something, Valley Emergency Response Group. And they set up spontaneously the shelters on October 10th after the big firestorms. And just as independent community did that. And they gave a really interesting presentation about what communities like ours may be tasked to do spontaneously if should something like that ever happen. And I think there's a lot of lessons learned that this group will take away from that. And then today I went to the Marin Coalition lunch where they had the wildfire threats and response lessons from Sonoma. And Marin County Fire Chief Mark Brown spoke along with Bob Norbrum Jr., who is the battalion chief in Sonoma. And they really talked a lot about lessons learned from the big firestorms in the fire that was particularly in Sonoma, not one of the 6 other fires that were happening at the same time. And there was a lot of interesting discussion about the overlap between and mutual aid that Marin provided to Sonoma spontaneously and how much Sonoma is prepared to respond to us should we need it. And that was really nice to see, and there were a lot of lessons learned that they're going to continue to push out to the community. But alertmarin.org and FireSafe Marin are your go-tos for those kind of things. Speaking of that, the Marin NRGs, the Central Marin NRGs, our neighborhood response groups, are up and running great. We have a new director who is helping with it, and then November 4th is the drill for the fall. So if those of you who are in an NRG, put that on your calendar to go see what these drills are like in neighborhoods. And I think they're going to be very instrumental. And then lastly, there was a presentation at the meeting about the new plan PG&E has to de-energize lines. And you should be getting some of this in the mail. I'm not going to go through that. But there are 5,800 Tier 3 homes in Larkspur and about 4,800 Tier 3 homes that PG&E is talking about in Corte Madera. So I'd like everybody to pay attention to whether you get this notice that your home is in a Tier 3 zone. For that rare day where they may have to de-energize the power lines, people need to be prepared. And PG&E has a website that you can register your phone number and other things so that you can get advanced warning. Particularly if you have a need in your home for any type of life support, oxygen, or any other reason why you need to have backup electricity. The Tier 3s may be, if this happens, but they will de-energize lines, may be out of power for several days, depending upon what happens. So that's new, and you'll be hearing a lot more about that. But I was curious to see that 5,800 homes in Larkspur have been identified. So that was my only things.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. Anybody else? Larry?
Kind of follow on to that. I'm sure a lot of you got a notification today at 11:18 a.m. So a lot of people shaking their heads, so that's a good thing. It means you're signed up for, the same system that they basically use for the Amber Alerts. But for the council, I don't know if you're familiar with the Urban Area Security Initiative, but they provide training to public officials, well, mainly to people who are part of public safety agencies. But there's stuff where you can learn about public policy on things like the National Emergency Management System and Incident Command System and things like that. And it's specifically meant for people in, a role like council member. I just happen to be going to one in a couple weeks on what they call it, actor-shooter training.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah. So that's for work, but, you're on the police council.
Sure.
You can
No, it's
attach
great.
yourself to that, because when you sign up, you have to say whether you're part of a police agency, a fire agency, or a city.
All right, great. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Kevin?
Just a couple things real quick. Excuse me, last Friday I attended the annual retreat for the Marin MCE Clean Energy Board, which was held over in the City Hall at the City of Richmond. It was an all-day event, and I won't go into the details of it, but it was very informative and instructive, and a great opportunity for all the board members in the growing service area for MCE to get together and meet each other and talk. We learned that day that the unincorporated part of Solano County has now decided, through the Board of Supervisors in Solano County, has now decided to join MCE. So the service area of MCE continues to grow. MCE continues to be the most successful community choice aggregation entity in the state of California, and we're very excited about the progress of that. Just on MCE, I'll also be attending the annual California Independent System Operator, CAL-ISO Symposium on October 17th up in Sacramento. I went to it last year. It was very interesting and informative. It's an opportunity not only for the community choice aggregation community to get together, but also the investor-owned utility community, as well as electric energy producers throughout the West Coast. So it's a great conference. It's a West Coast focused conference, and I'm sure one of the big topics that we'll be talking about will be integration of the Western grid over the next couple of years, which I think is an important development. One other thing I just want to mention: on Monday, I attended a modestly well-attended meeting with Julian Skinner, our Director of Public Works. I think I got your title right this time. Is that right? Yeah. Where he introduced the rollout of the pavement program under Measure B, which is quite exciting. So that is going to get started next year. The timing is yet to be determined on whether or where particular communities or neighborhoods are going to get help with their quality of their roads. But it's exciting to see that the work that we did last year to get Measure B in place is now bearing fruit. I do want to mention, because this was an issue for me, one of the things that folks who may be part of that program going forward need to take into account is the possible need to evaluate your sanitary sewer lateral lines, because it will be important to evaluate the integrity of your lines before your street is repaved, because if you decide that you have to take some action with respect to repairs of those lines after your street is repaved, the cost of doing that will be much, much greater. So I would encourage people who may be on the program, or if you don't know you're on the program, to check out the city's website, to look and see where your neighborhood may be on the list, and give some thought to the possible need for taking a look at your sanitary sewer laterals. I got a letter from the Ross Valley Sanitary District, I think a lot of people did, kind of alerting folks to the need to take this issue into account. So please pay attention to that, because there is some costs associated with that. There are some grant monies that might be available from the sanitary, or through the sanitary district, to help out with that. But the key thing is to make sure you're aware of it. So before they come out and start pouring asphalt over your street, you at least address that issue. So that's it.
Great, thank you, Kevin. Kevin, also with the laterals, I know for Hillview, we're going to do it as a group, and the price is extremely lower if you do it as, more than 10 or so.
Yeah.
So if you can do it with your neighbors, it saves you a lot of money also.
I think that's absolutely right. Different neighborhoods will be able to deal with it differently. I think the Marina neighborhood kind of did the same thing.
Right.
My neighborhood over in Greenbrae, it's a little bit different because we're on a long street and it goes up the hill, and different people have different circumstances. So, but the bottom line is, one way or another, whether you do it individually or do it as a group, it's something to pay attention to.
Great, thank you. For my report, a letter went out to the Redwood High School students all about carpooling. And they've done a few things differently. They're a little bit more stringent about who's going to get permission parking permits. So I know Kevin received one. What they've changed is only those outside 20-minute walking radius may request permits. That's new. Spaces will be assigned first by if you carpool. Lottery for seniors and juniors. No first period students get unassigned fill-in permits, and students can request for front or back lot, which is also new, and no cars can leave for lunch. So that's exciting stuff. So hopefully that's going to help with all the traffic congestion that we have during those hours. And that's it for me. All right. We'll move on. We have no public hearing and no business item, which means we're about to adjourn. May I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So I think this may set the
be a
record.
record.
We tried to do that once when I was mayor
welcome.
last
You're
year.
welcome.
But I think, 19 minutes may be a record.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
All right, can I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one opposes. Great. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank
It's
you all for
great to
coming.
see you
Come
all.
again.